We're here today at the Eden Project for the 2024 Frontier Forum that we host at Foresight Group. We bring together people from a diverse range of backgrounds. We have people from government, from the sustainability world, and from the investor community. And we're discussing how we can get capital mobilised at more speed and more scale into three areas, which is the energy transition, which is to decarbonisation, beyond power, and also into restoring nature.
The most important thing is that when you talk about, for example, energy transition, you need to have such a wide group of stakeholders to actually be able to address that. Not only that, you need to have, for example, the concept of systems thinking. So if we talk about energy transition, we cannot look at electricity, heat and transport in isolation. We need to look at the whole system.
This isn't just an investment opportunity, it's an opportunity to make life better for future generations. And for us all to be able to turn around to a part of that in this room in a few years' time to our children and grandchildren and go, yeah, I was part of that and I made it happen and I played my part by showing that leadership.
I do think that we need to view nature as infrastructure. It's a vital asset that supports a lot of the services that we need to mitigate climate. It provides inputs to medicine. It's so critical and most of our economy depends on it.
When we are investing large sums of capital into these assets, we are looking for very stable regulation. We need to have clear signalling and good visibility of what that policy landscape looks like over the next 5 to 10 years.
The way you have to think about institutional capital is not a 100-year investment. It's a series of 5-year investments.
So there's this real responsibility for you as a sector to really get hold of the environmental sector and lead them through this process in a way that allows them to kind of really benefit from it. Because they've got all the skills and knowledge around habitat creation and what's needed to be done. And a collaboration around the environment sector and the finance sector that really kind of helps to build something of significance. And that's the challenge.
We're just wrapping up 2 days at the fabulous Eden Project, a truly inspiring place to be, to have these conversations about how we channel investment at scale into natural capital and restoring nature and the energy transition that we simply have to make, not just for climate change reasons, but for energy security and national and peace and security reasons. And there have been loads of good ideas, lots of conversations around the edge of the formal discussions that have been useful and productive. But this morning in particular, it was lovely to have presentations of ideas that met those criteria that I was able to judge with my fellow judges. And we were impressed, and we found some confidence that if these ideas can emerge under a certain time pressure, that gives you a feeling of optimism that these highly complex, very demanding and problematic issues can be resolved with the right combination of goodwill and expertise.
What has really stuck out for me is the appetite of the financial sector to look at some of these different asset classes that we must address. So nature and biodiversity, this is absolutely crucial for the health of our planet, but also has a massive economic issue that we've got to start to understand how to finance it and how to restore it. So we talked about whole systems from an energy and a nature perspective, but we also probably need whole systems from a financial and investor perspective.
We've learned a few things. I would say we've learned a bit about increasing complexity in the energy transition, the need for what people are talking about in terms of systems thinking, and also an evolution in how we think about our timescales. So in terms of complexity, people are talking about the fact now that we're getting into a world where we need to invest in more complex things in the energy system. It's not just wind and solar power, but it's things like long duration energy storage, it's interconnectors. And then we need to think about timescales as well. There's been a debate about long-term thinking versus short-term thinking. Clearly, we all need to be thinking long-term in how we plan investments for multi-generations, but then some of the investors were talking about the fact that they have to have short-term considerations as well. So I think there's a real balance there, but underlying it all is this kind of feeling of urgency, that we have all this work to do, and things like regulations need to evolve, but it's not happening quick enough.